Hi there makers, welcome back to the channel. Today I've brought you another crochet sweater. If you didn't check out last week's crochet sweater, go check it out. Something tells me you will love it. Today's tutorial is accompanied by a free crochet pattern available in 9 sizes, so be sure to check that down below. If you hate ads like I do, be sure to find the paid version, which is very affordable, also linked down below. As for the materials used in this crochet sweater, they're also all linked down below together with the affiliate links. Like and subscribe. Now let's get into the tutorial. To begin, we'll grab our 4mm crochet hook and our yarn. We are beginning with working the collar, so you will make that slip knot just like that, and then I will make a chain of 8. Just like that. Into the back bumps, so I'm just going to turn my chain the other way around, and into the back bumps I will go in with slip stitches. And I will slip stitch going all the way down. That's row 1. To begin row 2, chain 1 and turn. So now we'll be working into the back bumps or the back V's. So the ones that are furthest from you, that's where we'll be placing our stitches to get the ribbed look of the collar. So into the first, I'm going in with my first slip stitch. And that's row 2. Row 3, you will turn 1, chain 1 and turn, and repeat what we just did with row 2. So you're going to repeat row 2 for a total of the number of rows that's required for your size. I'm doing a size small for this one, so I'm going to do a total of 60 rows. After I'm done with those 60 rows, I'll come right on back here and we can finish off together. We can go on together onto this next part. So far this is what my work is looking like. If you want your collar to be longer or shorter, feel free to make the beginning chain longer or shorter. So I have finished doing my 80 rows. If I said 60 before, I meant 80. So now to close off the collar, we're just going to do a chain up of 1 and bring the ends together like that. And now I'm going to grab my crochet hook, insert into the back loop of the first stitch, and then I'm going to find the back loop of the other side, which is this one right here. I had to count just to be sure, and I will slip stitch to connect both. I will find the next stitch, and the same for the other side, and slip stitch to connect, and I'll do the same for the rest of the stitches left. And that's the last one right there. And this is obviously this is going to be on the inside, so when we turn it around, it's going to be hard to notice where we seamed. So now we're gonna start placing single crochet rows around the side slip stitch rows. So first thing, you're gonna drop your work and grab yourself some stitch markers. Just gonna grab 2. And now remember we have 80 rows of slip stitches. So what we're gonna do is place a single crochet on top of each of those 80 rows. So at the end you wanna have 80 slip stitch rows. Single crochet rows or single crochets. That's the first single crochet I've made. So I'm just gonna place my stitch marker into there. I chained 1 before I began. Just gonna place my stitch marker into there, and I'm working over this tail right here. Still using the 4mm crochet hook. So how I tell the rows is the ribbed area is a row. The in between wedge is also another row. So the ribbed area, that's a row. In between the ribs is another row. And just like that. You want to make sure you keep count as you go, so that you have a total of, or in this case 80, depending on whatever size you are making. Just like that. So you go on placing the single crochets all the way around your collar, and I'll meet you right at the end. So I've gone all the way around and I have completed. I have a total of 80 single crochets around. If I lay it down, this is what it's gonna look like. And don't worry, I know this looks super tiny, but a head is gonna fit through there because it's gonna stretch a lot. So to finish the row, all I'm gonna do is slip stitch into the first single crochet I made. But before I do that, I'll place the stitch marker into that last one so that I don't miss it. And then I'll slip stitch into the first single crochet that was made and do a chain up of 1. So right into there is where the first stitch is. This is just so we don't have any little gaps around. And then I'm gonna grab my scissors, cut the yarn, and there we go, just like that. So this is where the first stitch is, this one right here. The second one is this one right here. Don't be fooled thinking this is the second one, no, because if I drop it down like this, you're gonna see that into the stitches where we slip stitched, which is, oh, this is 1. I'm hoping that makes sense. But if you're gonna feel like you're gonna get mixed up, just put another stitch marker into that second one right there. I will do the same. That's the second stitch marker right there, just so you do not get mixed up. And so far, this is what our work is looking like. So now, following everything else, we are now going to have to separate the front and the back, and we'll do that using stitch markers. So for the front panel of the sweater, we're gonna do a few rows of decreasing, followed by a few normal rows, and then a few rows of increasing. So since we chained 80, for size small, we're gonna decrease 10 rows, and then we're gonna work 20 normal rows for the center, and then we're gonna increase another 10 rows. The 10 here and the 10 here will equal to 20. The 20 in the center will equal to 40. That's going to make the front panel. And the back will also leave us with 40 stitches, which we will work without any increase or decreasing. So to separate the front, this is my first stitch. I'm going to leave these 2 stitch markers where they are. But from here, I'm going to count 10 stitches coming down. So that's my first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is to symbolize that this area will be decreased. And then I'm going to count 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Up to here will symbolize that I'm going to work normal rows. Let me grab another stitch marker. I'll count 10 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Until the 10th, I will be working increasing. So if I lay my work down like this right here is the front panel. This is the front and this is the back. There's no need to mark the back because now you're gonna know that from this stitch all the way to where we have this green stitch marker, that's gonna be the back. So this is what the work looks like for now. We're gonna lay the collar aside and get started on the front panel. So now to get started on the body, you're gonna grab a 5.5mm crochet hook, make a slip knot, and make a chain that's required for your size. Size small, we're making a chain of 71. So I'm gonna go and make a chain of 71. After I'm done, I will meet you right back. This is what your chain of 71 should be looking like if you're doing a size small. To begin, you're just gonna grab your 4mm crochet hook, bring it back, and into the first 10 stitches, into the back bumps only, we're going in with slip stitching. So the slip stitches will make the bottom band have a little hold. If you do not have a small waist or a smaller waist, feel free to use the 5mm crochet hook for the slip stitches. Or if you'd want it, the band to be a bit larger, you could use the same 5.5mm, but you can do single crochets instead of a slip stitch. Now I'm gonna get another stitch marker. This project is gonna call for a lot of stitch markers. If you do not have any stitch markers, be sure to check the description box below. You can get some at a very good price. And I will place that stitch marker right in there. Now for the rest of the top, we will be working a half double slip stitch. So to work a half double slip stitch, you are gonna yarn over, insert your hook into the back bump of the next stitch, yarn over and pull through. Now, instead of yarning over and finishing, we're just going to slip stitch through everything. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, and slip stitch through everything. How I like to do this is I like to turn my hook upside down and slip stitch just like that. Let me show you again. Turn the hook upside down and slip stitch. Other people like to yarn over, insert the hook, pinch the middle stitch down, and pull through everything. Pinch the middle stitch down and pull through everything. But I like to turn my hook upside down. I feel like that's easier for me. So I'm gonna do this all the way down to the top of the row, Once I get there, I will meet you so that we can begin row 2 together. So I have finished the first row. This is what it's look like. To begin row 2, we're just going to be chaining of 1. Chain 1 does not count as a stitch. It's best if you know now. So to begin row 2, we're going to be working to the back bumps to get that knit look stitch. So into the back bumps only, yarn over and slip stitch. Yarn over and half double slip stitch. Just like that. So you will go on doing this all the way until that stitch marker where I will meet you so that we can end the row with our slip stitches. And by the third row, you will see the knitting stitch look that I mean, right now it's a bit too soon to see. Wait until row 3, 4, 5, and you can tell that it looks knit instead of crochet. So I'm going to continue doing this and I will meet you once I get to the stitch marker. I have reached the stitch marker, so I'm just going to grab that 4mm stitch crochet hook again, remove that stitch marker, and into those 10 I'm going to go in with my 10 slip stitches, back loop still. Remember, if your waist is if you do not have a smaller waist, or if the band is going to be too tight for you, you do a single crochet with a 5mm crochet hook if you want. So into the back loops, all I'm going to do is slip stitch, going all the way down. I've got 2 more left, so you don't want to make them too tight. And there we go. At the end, you just do a chain up of 1, turn and slip stitch into the first 10, replace that stitch marker and half double slip stitch the rest of the way. And get rid of that, get back to my 5.5 hook and half double slip stitch all the way back up, and you will keep on repeating that for the desired number of rows that's needed to finish off the first shoulder portion of your size. So refer to that written pattern to know how many rows you need to do this for, and I will meet you right back. And you want to make sure that I'm meeting you right back towards the top of the row. And as you're getting towards the top of the row, you want to leave the last 2 stitches unworked at the top. So this is a stitch. It's going to be hard to see. Or if you're finding it hard to tell the first stitch, you can always put a stitch marker in there. I know the half double slip stitch can be very confusing. Or you can just count. If this was 10 and you chained 71, which is going to be 70, then there should be a total of 60 right here. So you go on, finish off, and I will meet you right back. So here I am at the top of my work. I am left with 2 stitches at the top. So from this row, this is where we're gonna be connecting to our collar. So before connecting, we have to decrease into those 2 stitches right there. So to decrease a half double slip stitch, you yarn over, insert your hook, rub that yarn, pull through. You have 3 loops, then you insert your hook into the last stitch, pull through and slip stitch through everything. Let's do that again together. Yarn over, insert your hook, pull through, 3 loops on the hook, insert your hook, pull through, 4 loops, and slip stitch through everything. We will not be chaining once from here on. We will be connecting to the collar. So remember, this is our first stitch right here. So into the next 10 right here, we will be doing decreasing. This was our first decrease, which is for this stitch right here, where I will slip stitch to join. As I'm joining, I'm making sure that the rib that we connected is on the inside. And I want to keep that on the inside as well. So I will slip stitch to join that row, just like that. Now, to begin the other row going downwards, we will slip stitch into the next single crochet. Remember, from here on, we're not chaining once, we're just going to be slip stitching into the single crochets around the collar, and I'll turn my work. So the first 2 V's, these 2 are where we did the slip stitching, these 2 right here. So obviously this third one right here was the last stitch the decrease that we made, which is also going to be the first stitch going downwards. So since we're decreasing into these 10, going downwards we also need to decrease. So you yarn over, set your hook into that first stitch, pull through, and then into the second one, pull through and slip stitch. That's your first decrease of the row, and then I'll go on as normal. So the decrease is only going to be done at the top, at the collar, and into those 10 stitches. Just like that. So far, this is what it's looking like. So you're gonna go on decreasing into this until this stitch marker. After this stitch marker, we will work normal rows. We will not be decreasing anymore until this stitch marker. So I will meet you at this stitch marker so that we can increase together. So after you've done working the normal rows in the center and we're starting our increase rows, into that last stitch, let me just get there so I can show you, we're going to start increasing. So to increase, we're going to be placing 2 half double slip stitches into that same stitch. Just like that. We'll slip stitch into the next single crochet to connect the row. To begin a new row, slip stitch into the next single crochet and turn. I'm at the end of my increasing, as you can see. And then I'll show you once again how we increase. Yarn over, and then into that first stitch we'll place 2 half double slip stitches, just like that, and continue as normal. Just like that. So let me just lay my work down for you and show you how I've done so far. I've got one more coming back up, and I'm gonna place my last increase in there before I work 13 more rows, just like I've got one more row to increase in there, that last stitch marker, before I then work my 13 rows to make the other shoulder portion. And so far this is what it looks like: 13 rows, 10 rows decreasing, 20 rows normal, 10 rows increasing, and then 13 normal rows. After that, I'm gonna start again with 13 rows on the side, and then I'm gonna come and connect to this stitch marker and slip stitch throughout here without making any increasing or decreasing. It would just be normal now throughout. I'm just saying this in case I do not get this in frame, because we might be losing electricity pretty soon. So let me just finish of this row, and then I'll show you how you can get started with the 13 rows. So I just slip stitched where that stitch marker was, meaning that I'm marking the end of the 10 increase rows. Now I'm back to start the 30 normal rows. So we're gonna go back to the chaining of 1, chaining 1, turning, and into that next stitch, go in with a normal half double slip stitch. We're not increasing anymore. We're just placing normal stitches. And once I come back up, all I'm going to do is chain 1 and turn until I have a total of 13 rows. So since this is my first row, it might be a little hard for me to remember. I'm going to place this. So I just realized that I lost the recording for the sleeves, but I believe I explained how to do the back. For the back, you're just going to repeat everything you did for the front, only that you're not going to do the decreasing and the increasing. You're just going to do normal rows for the entire back section. After you're done with the back, you're going to lay the panels together, close the shoulders with your needle or a hook if you wish. So you go on working, and then after you're done closing the shoulders, you are gonna connect the yarn, and you'll find you're gonna count the number of stitches you want to leave open for your armhole. I believe that will be also written down in the free pattern or the paid pattern. And then you're gonna close the sides, and then you're gonna connect the yarn to the underarm portion, chain the chain that's required for your size, and go back and forth repeating everything that we've been doing. If this did not make sense, I'm gonna link down below, or just check out the previous crochet pattern of the sweater. It's in the color blue, and that's going to explain everything well about how we connect everything, the arms and everything else. I am so sorry. I was so sure that I recorded everything, but I didn't. I will do so much better next time. If you stayed up to this far, be sure to like. Don't forget to like. Comment fire emoji so I'll know who you are. You might stand a chance of winning a few free patterns that are coming up in the upcoming tutorials. Until next time, guys, I will see you in a bit.